Okay, she be going every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing a cute vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Todd with Driver. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright folks, it's time for another edition of Haulin Games. In this series, I'll talk about all the pickups that I got throughout every month, and for this video, I'm going to be talking about all the games that I got for my collection for the month of February of 2022. So another nice mix of PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games here. Some of them are games that I've really wanted for such a long time, and others are some that really caught my eye, and so I felt like it would be good to add some of these games to my collection, and so let's not waste any time here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. So we're going to go ahead and start out as usual with our PlayStation 1 games, and I found another IndyCar style game to start this one off. This is the Kart World Series. This was a game that was released back in the late 1990s, and it was based off of the then Kart World Series, which of course was the prelude to the current Indy Racing League. This is another interesting one. This has a very good mix of road courses and ovals as well, so really a lot to keep you entertained as well, and a lot of really good drivers and tracks in this game as well. So like I said before, if there are any more IndyCar style games out there before the new one that comes out this year, I'll definitely try to see if I can go get them. Next up, we have Itoka Championship Racing. This was released back in 1998 for the United States, and this is based off of the British Touring Car Championship that takes place in the United Kingdom. And this is really an interesting one, but also very difficult because unlike in other racing games that I got, the cars here in this one, they're a lot more difficult to handle. So it's going to take me a little while for me to be able to figure out this game, but still really enjoyable. I really like trying out new games that are based off of different various forms of auto racing, and so this was another one that was on my book, and so I'm happy that I have this one. Then a couple of bike racing games. The first one is Sports Superbike 2. This is a more generic racing game here, so there's really nothing special about it. It's racing superbikes at a bunch of various fictional racetracks, so interesting game. Along with the next one, Motocross Mania 2. This is the sequel to the original Motocross Mania that I had gotten from last year, and really nothing different from the original one. This is pretty much the same concept. You're racing dirt bikes on various motocross racetracks around the country, and so really there's nothing special in regards to this one. Next racer I got is called Ridge Racer Revolution. This was released back in 1995, and the very first Ridge Racer game to be released on the PlayStation. And there are a lot of cool games that came from this franchise for the PlayStation, and this was the very first one of them, so I felt like it would be really cool to add a game like this into my collection, and really one that I had on my radar for quite some time, so I'm happy to have this one. Then after that is TNN Motorsports Hardcore TR. This is pretty much the sequel to TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4, but mostly racing pickup trucks across various racetracks across the country, and mostly on dirt as well. It's almost very similar to the original one, and probably a little more hectic as well at times, so it was definitely a very interesting concept for racing trucks on dirt, but it's almost similar to Test Drive Off-Road, of course, so really nothing special in regards to this one, but I felt like it would be good to add this one in my collection. Then moving on, we have Siphon Filter Free. This is the third game of the Siphon Filter franchise, and released back in 2001 for the original PlayStation. I really wish that there was a game for this that was released on the PlayStation 2, because this was around the time the PlayStation 2 was starting to become more popular and the PS1 was starting to become a little more obsolete. Unfortunately, there was not, so pretty disappointing on that. However, I felt like it would be good to get the third game for the Siphon Filter franchise, and so it's definitely a good one, almost similar to the first two, and I really do enjoy this. A couple more games on the PlayStation 1 collection. This one is called Tiny Toon Adventures Plucky's Big Adventure. This is one of the many games from the Tiny Toon Adventures video game franchise released for the PlayStation 1, based off the popular Cartoon Network show from back in the 90s. It's definitely an interesting concept, and so I'm happy to have this one in my collection. And then finally, we have The Weakest Link. And before I review this, I actually want to mention this was actually from the collection I got from last month from the Haulin Games video in January. However, I did not show this off in my last collection, so I'm showing this to you now just to let you know that I did get this, but from the previous month, so I do apologize for that. Really, when I was watching Game Show Network when I was young, one of the shows that my dad and I used to enjoy, because of that line at the very end of the show that says, "You are the weakest link, goodbye," and really it would become like a real running joke in my family. It was a very funny quote from a very good game show. Yeah, like I said, game shows were very popular back in the days, and really to see a lot of them converted into video games like this one is definitely very unique. And so, you know what, it was a very funny game show, so I felt like why not go ahead and add a video game version of it here in my collection. That's going to do it for all the games that I got on the PlayStation 1. We're going to go ahead and move on over to all the games that I got for the PlayStation 2 for the month of February, and a lot of very interesting ones as well here. And we're going to go ahead and start this one off with Monster Jam. This is pretty much similar to Monster Jam Maximum Destruction. However, there's a lot more chaos that takes place in this and a lot more destruction as well, and I really enjoy that considering that I used to be a Monster Jam fan, so I'm happy to have this one. Next one here is called Top Gear Daredevil. It's very unique concept. You're just racing around a whole bunch of other drivers and trying to get the various checkpoints and beating the clock before time runs out. So interesting concept. Haven't gotten around to this quite a bit, so we will go ahead and give it a shot at some point, and hopefully this is pretty good. A couple more sports games that I have here. The first one is called Strike Force Bowling. Now, really, there's nothing special about this. It's pretty much almost similar to any other bowling game you would get, so felt like it would be good to add this to my collection, but nothing really special coming out of this one. And then the other one is Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball Maxed. Paintball games were really hard to come by nowadays, and so this is a very interesting one that I managed to get here, although I believe there was one or two other games related to the Greg Hastings Paintball video game franchise, so I'm hoping to get a couple more of those in the near future. And it's almost similar to your Call of Duty style video games, only it's just a more extreme sports style game with paintball, and really it's definitely a lot of fun as well, so I really did enjoy this game and I'm looking forward to playing a lot more of it. Finally, a couple of war games here. The first one is actually the sequel to A Nation Divided. This is the History Channel Civil War Secret Missions. Now, this is a little more different because this one takes place in the back stages of the Civil War, more during secret missions that take place outside the main battles during the Civil War. I actually wanted to get the PlayStation 3 version of this game, but really the only ones that I found where I could find them was during the PlayStation 2 version of them, so I felt like I would go ahead and get this one. But really, the fact that this and A Nation Divided are the only two real Civil War games that I found for the PlayStation 2, hey, it's definitely good to have the both of them. And so I did get a chance to play this one, and it was a little challenging at times, but it was a very, very good game as well. So nice to go back to relive the Civil War days. And finally is Conflict Desert Storm. This is the very first game of the Conflict franchise and the prequel to Conflict Desert Storm 2 Back to Baghdad. It's another one of those tactical shooters, so obviously it's a little bit hard to get around, and I'm not really much of a fan of tactical shooters, but you know, it's really good to get the very first one from the Conflict franchise. I know that there are a lot of video games released in this particular franchise, particularly those in the Middle East, especially one in Vietnam, so I'm hoping to get one of those very soon. Moving right along to our PlayStation 3 games, but there were a few that I got, even though I didn't get many for this month, that were pretty good, but one that was also pretty terrible, and I'll tell you what that bad one is in a little bit. But we're going to start this one off first with Dirt Showdown. This is actually a game that I've wanted to get for quite a while. It's the sequel to Dirt 2 and Dirt 3, and part of the Dirt franchise, which I used to enjoy playing when I first got the PlayStation 3 back in 2011. And yeah, it was on my radar for quite a bit. I really enjoyed playing Dirt 2, especially because that was probably one of my favorite games for the PlayStation 3, and so hopefully this game is almost similar to that one as well. I really like, you know, going out in norms and trying various forms of rally games as well, so this is one of them that I hope is pretty good. In a hilarious form, I remember the last Haulin Games video that I said I wanted to get Saints Row 2. Well, I got it right here, so luck's really changed in a blink of an eye in about a month. So this is Saints Row 2, and I got this one as the prequel to Saints Row 3. This was a game from the Saints Row franchise that I really wanted because there was a lot of crazy going on, almost similar to Grand Theft Auto, and really especially all the soundtrack as well, a lot of good rap and rock, and really just the comedy that takes place in this game as well. It's almost more of a comedic nature than what you would see in Grand Theft Auto, so I'm happy to have this one. Then we have Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. This is another game from the good Uncharted franchise, and I heard that there was a film that just came out for Uncharted, so I don't know when I'll see that, but that's pretty good to see, and really the Uncharted video game franchise is really good as well, so happy to see a movie adaptation of this, and really looking forward to playing this game. And then finally, it is Duke Nukem Forever. Folks, I remember telling you last month how bad this game was just based from what I heard, and well, I really just got this for the sake of it. I mean, it's almost similar to Duke Nukem Time to Kill, but man, the graphics here are just absolutely bad, and the controls are just horrible, and yeah, I mean, Rascal was bad not for the PlayStation 1, but this one right here, I can understand why everybody's calling this a terrible game. I might do a review of this later on from bad game reviews, but still, you know, the reason why I just got this is just to see what it's like and see if those reviews were similar to what I saw from the comment section, and well, they weren't lying. This game is bad. And finally, we will move on to the PlayStation 4. Now, I actually did get free for the PS4, which is the most that I've gotten for this console since the July video that I did last year, but a lot of them were really games that I really wanted to get for a while. The very first one of them is called Battlefield 5. This was the last Battlefield game that was released before Battlefield 2042, which was released last year, and really takes you all the way back to the World War II days, which was the first time that they went into this since one of the very first Battlefield games that they released. And it's really a good concept as well. It's not just male fighters, there's also female fighters that you get to play as well. So there's a lot of diversity in this one, and you know, as controversial as this game is, I actually really enjoyed it. I really like playing the heck out of it, and I'm looking forward to playing more of this game in the near future. Finally, a couple more games. We have Destiny 2. This is the sequel to the original Destiny that I got last year, and almost similar to the first one, but there's a lot more that goes on in this one compared to what I saw from the original, so happy to have this one. And then finally, it is Detroit Become Human. This is a game that I actually had on my radar for quite some time, but I didn't really get the chance to come around on it until now. So this is more of a decision-based game, so you're actually in the middle of a story and you're making your own decisions on what's going to happen next and what to say and what to do and all that stuff. And I found that to be a very interesting topic, especially since this takes place in the very near future where everybody is really taken over by technological warfare and all that stuff. So that really makes this game especially unique decision making, and it's really an advanced future of technology as well. I decided just to go ahead and get this one. Haven't had a chance to play it yet, but hopefully I do so in the near future. And that's pretty much it for all the games that I got for this month, and so quite a few of them that I've had for my radar for quite some time that I got this month, and others that were pretty interesting, and then Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, who in the world thought it would be a good idea to create that game, but still a pretty good collection nonetheless. I don't really know how many games I'm going to get for this month of March because it's my brother's birthday this month, and I really wanted to get something for him. Maybe like a pet or something like that, or maybe something else in particular, so I might not get too many games for the month of March, so I can focus on trying to really impress my little brother this month. But really, I'll try to see exactly what else I can find to add to this collection, but it's only getting bigger. That's all I'm really going to say about that. Anyways, that's gonna do it for another video. Hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so every new subscriber helps. As always, be sure to comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, challenges, or video game content like this one. You name it, leave it in the comment section below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for another midweek video. Hope you're having another great day. As always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.